Robin Longstride, also known as Robin of the Hood.
For the crimes of incitement to cause unrest, I declare him to be an outlaw!
Now, this is the true story of Robin Hood, and you know what? I believe that this is the real Robin Hood because this motherfucker stole 2.5 hours of our time.
Damn, I was waiting on that joke. It's like,
nobody's gonna do it.
Only thing
good?
Robin in here is this movie from my time. Give it back, Robin Hood. Give it back.
Yeah, based on a true story that Ridley Scott just made up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, Robin Hood isn't actually based on a historical character, but you wouldn't know it to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I knew somebody was going to do this. The same thing they did with that last King Arthur movie, where they're like, "No, this is the real story."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, based on some bullshit.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's real fucking boring.
Next comes Ridley Scott's The Real Story of the Easter Bunny.
No!
The true story behind the bunny.
Which hopefully won't feature a bunch of people covered in shit again.
No, man.
Jesus
Damn,
Christ.
boy.
Yeah, but it'll be 2.5
Yeah.
hours long.
No, it'll be fucking the Easter Bunny fighting an army of Santa's helpers. That's sweeping.
It's what really happened, though, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah,
As
because
ridiculous as that is, it'd be better than watching this again.
it'll be more fun because
Yeah,
that's what
it
they
would.
do here. They really try to make Robin Hood a part of some sort of history in Ridley Scott's mind. I mean, in this story, now people, first of all, don't buy the bullshit here with this title, Robin Hood, okay? You don't get no Robin Hood in this fucking movie, okay? This movie is a setup for the true Robin Hood that we know today.
Yeah, it's episode 1, The French Menace.
Yes.
Or maybe it's a pilot for a TV series.
Yeah, it feels like that. It feels like the
Very
beginning
bad.
of a TV series.
Ridley Scott fooled everybody to come and see a 2.5 hour setup about Robin Hood.
Yeah.
This story deals with the invasion of England from the French and how Robin Hood stepped in to help curb this invasion and then get the honor and respect of the people, which made Prince John very jealous.
Yeah.
And that is what made Robin Hood an outlaw. Don't nobody give a fuck.
Yeah, which is like with all the little things like that those new remake horror movies are doing, like, oh, here's how he got this, and here's where that came from. You're like, look, we don't care. You know what? What's the number one thing you think of with Robin Hood, right? Like trick archery stuff and cool archery stuff.
Yes.
How many times does he even fire a bow in this goddamn movie?
Okay, I mean, here's what it comes down to. When you think Robin Hood, the one thing you think of is somebody shoots an arrow and he splits it with his arrow.
Yes.
It doesn't happen once in this thing. If that doesn't happen, it's not a Robin Hood movie.
There's really only one trick shot in the entire film, and it's not till the very end of the movie.
Well, the thing is with this movie too is that number one, you're not told that this is the prequel leading up to the hero we all know. So the whole time you're watching it, at least I was watching it, and I was like, holy fuck! I heard about taking your artistic license and changing shit around, but I was like, when the fuck did all this happen?
Right.
What?
Yeah, and then they try to go in and they try to reverse things a little bit. Like King Richard, who's played by Danny Houston here, ends up being kind of a prick. He's not the lion-hearted that we know. In fact, there's a part where we understand that one of the reasons why Robin Hood is an outlaw is not only because of the ire of Prince John, it's also because he's deserted the English army when he told off like King Richard. King Richard, you're kind of an asshole. Next thing, you got him in the gallows.
Well, that's what's so funny. The whole come on, be honest. What do you think of me? You're kind of a dick. Thank you for being honest. Now lock him away.
Which was kind of funny.
Was it just me, or did it feel like the film actually had a political agenda?
Who did I talk to when I said I said all these politics, man. I was like, really? It does. You know what, man? I gotta applaud you. It does feel like episode 1.
It does.
No,
The Trade Federation and everything. It was like, wow, we're getting too much into the sideline stuff here, of stuff that takes all the fun out of it. Even Robin Hood himself was like watching a senator on like C-SPAN. You're like, will you tell a joke or be funny or at least light of foot at some point?
Well, that's the thing we always liked about Robin Hood. Him being so, fun-loving and affable. I mean, that's the one thing that made the 3 good Robin Hood movies good.
Yeah.
And yet they couldn't nail that one thing down. You just didn't care about anybody.
Yeah,
you didn't care about Robin Hood. You didn't care about his merry men. You didn't care about a single soul in this film because the film's all over the place, which is kind of crazy because you're like, all right, I'm gonna watch a film about Robin Hood, and it seems like you see him sporadically throughout the film, and you don't even know what is honestly. I didn't know what the fuck was going on throughout this whole film.
Well, you got 3 villains too, and every so often one of them pops up, and you're like, oh yeah, dude, I forgot you were in this movie.
No, there's 3 villains, and some of the villains that we don't get. Prince John, who's played by Oscar Isaac.
I love that guy.
That guy. Now he was overacting.
He was,
but at least he gave us something.
He was fun to watch.
He was fun. Yeah, he was fun to watch.
He did what a villain is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Taxation.
Taxation. Milking a dry udder gets you nothing but kicked off the milking stool.
Mother, spare me your farmyard memories. You have none, and I don't understand them.
These are difficult times. We can buy time. We can send envoys to secure loans. There are money chests from Sicily to Normandy if you know where to look.
The crown is owed money at home. The northern barons plead poverty, but that's always been the song of rich men. So what's to be done?
Give me leave, sire, to go north with a company of mounted men.
I'll have the merchants and landowners fill your coffers. Or their coffins.
That's well said.
And we want him to be that villain, but throughout most of the movie, he's kind of flipped his opinion, and he wants to gain the trust of the people, whether it's true or not. So he's not that villainous. Mm-hmm. Mark Strong comes in as Loxley, but
no. He's not Loxley.
I mean, who is he? Oh no, I'm sorry. Loxley is what's his name?
Mark Strong comes in as a completely made up character for this prequel.
Godfrey. Yeah. I knew it.
As near as I can tell, I could be wrong on that, but as far as I know, and you're like, wow, he's Mark Strong.
No,
and that's really what he is.
He's
here.
the black assassin.
He's
the bag man.
It's just like, okay, so it's Mark Strong with a shaved head and a little scar on his cheek. You're like, okay, generic villain number 13 for Mark Strong.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Loxley is Max von Sydow, which had me laughing because those scenes with him.
Oh my God,
he sounds like he's died. You can't even understand what he's saying. Like, sit down and close your eyes.
He was like the owner of the Giggle Snort Hotel. I ain't gonna lie. The funny thing to me is like the movie felt long even within the first 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So it's just plodding along. You're waiting like, man, when do we get to this good stuff? Is it ever gonna happen? By the time we get to him meeting, Robin Hood meeting Loxley, the old man, and the way he was talking, let me come over here. I'm like, oh my God.
I know.
We are never gonna get out of this movie.
I looked at you and I was like, this dude is killing me. Half this movie is him trying to put out one sentence.
I thought Max von Sydow was probably dying right there on the set, and they just keep rolling because this is great material. This is the only interesting part of the movie.
He's died so many times in movies, though. At this point, he's like, I'm just trying something different this time.
Yeah.
I'm bored with it. I mean, when he actually dies in real life, it's going to be awesome. He's going to be so good at it.
Man, and the sheriff of Nottingham ain't even he's non-existent in this.
He makes a cameo, but he's like a joke.
Non-comic relief.
Yeah.
Matthew McFadden. Like when we see Sheriff of Nottingham, we expect him to be the darkest villain in here.
Sure.
And he's not in this.
No.
I mean, maybe he'll. I guess he's
for the next movie.
Yeah. And then in the next one, but
I don't want to see. Yeah, exactly.
Next movie?
I don't need to see Attack of the fucking French again. No. No, it's just funny because the French. It's hilarious. You mentioned. Yeah. When I walked out, I was like, I just fucking watched the Phantom Menace all over again.
Yeah.
But it deals with Robin Hood now, and I loved how the French were portrayed as those bumbling fucking robots from the Phantom Menace.
Well, they are the French.
Roger.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Hey, don't forget all those scenes they stole from Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, I know.
You see the trailer, you think, okay, it's probably a coincidence. Yeah. It's like, no, it's directly.
They straight up stole Saving Private Ryan, and you know what? I'm glad he stole it because that's just another interesting part of the movie right there. It's like, you know what? Even if this is a ripoff of Saving Private Ryan, I'm getting
at least something is happening.
Something is happening on screen. But the funny part is that when you see the trailer, it looks like people are dying from arrows. No, it's the French are dying because they can't fucking swim. Every time you see those guys in the water, like, they're struggling.
And you know what? It's slow motion. Yeah, they had one guy going. I think I even saw one French guy like a fish out of water on the beach. Like,
you saw them trying to dog paddle to the shore. It's like it's the fucking shore. And you're drowning. Are you kidding me?
He's like
ankle deep.
He's like les pant.
No, he's just like, help! I'm getting clean in the water. Help! That's terrible.
I tell you what.
The French are all right.
Yeah, y'all still stink, but they cool.
Yeah.
I did like the Merry Man, and it's embarrassing when they present them because when Robin Hood's beginning to meet the Merry Man for the first time, when they join him as he's abandoning the English army, they're like, "We'll go with you," and he's like, "The more the merrier.
I know. We all looked at each other. Oh, he said it. He said it.
I think it was one other time they say, "Well, you're a merry bunch," but yeah, this kind of thing like,
we get it. In case you weren't clued in that this are the merry men.
As you can see, they're rather merry.
Yeah.
Get it.
It's they're not going to say Robin Hood and his group of fags. I'm just saying. I mean, you can't say merry men now. You can't walk around going, "My merry men," because they'd kill him.
And let us not forget that they also get joined by Peter Pan and the Army of the Lost.
Oh yeah, what was that all about?
Which is nowhere. They introduced them at the beginning of the movie, and they're wearing masks and they're growling like dogs.
But they're kids.
But they're kids. I was like they're wolf kids, like wolf boys. Cause they show them at the beginning of the movie, and they come up to the camera and like, and then they come back at the end of the movie with no names, no nothing. It's like, who the fuck are these little scamps here?
I thought it was the feral kid from the Road Warrior.
It's one of the biggest problems with this movie, though, is that it's long as it is, and oh my god, it's so long. It's got huge sections that need explanation. You're like, what the fuck were you doing, man?
That's all about the DVD, the extended edition.
I know. Wait for that piece of shit to come out.
That's all for that disc that nobody's gonna watch.
Now there will be people who see this movie and they will turn to the person that they went to the movie with, and they will say, "Now this is a Robin Hood movie, right?" Because there's nothing of him in there. And Russell Crowe is, hey, look, Russell Crowe's a good actor. We know that, whatever. And he's good in this film for the little time he has, but he's overshadowed by his merry man because they have two actors I really like in here. Like Kevin Durand plays Little John.
Yeah.
And I thought when I first saw that actor, I was like, this is the biggest goofball. He's just a big dumb guy, but that guy's actually a really great actor.
You know what? You call him a goofball, but he's scary in everything I see him.
He is.
Well, he's so huge, but I saw him really, when I first saw him and realized like this guy is a great actor, was in a really kind of bad movie, which was Legion.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but he's a great actor. And Mark Addy as Friar Tuck, I thought was actually.
Although I
cool.
can't see Mark Addy and not think Fred Flintstone. Ever since he played Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
I also think he looks like the male Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was
which does beg the question: who is the female Rosie O'Donnell?
I thought he was Howard Stern's sidekick. What's his name?
Artie Lang.
I was like, it's Artie Lang in medieval times.
Artie Lang's a lot cooler than that,
and a lot fatter, and a lot less jovial.
But even with all the problems here, I could forgive almost everything if it wasn't for the fact that once again, nothing happens for so much of this film. It's like Leon and I were joking. It's like, wow, this is just like World of Warcraft. It's like they're going off and like building their stats by fishing and so building crafts and stuff. You're like, will you stop that and kill someone?
Yeah, I heard that about Ultima, where like before you could become a warrior, you had to like start a farm and build up your points. It's like this is boring, but that's his movie.
Oh no!
Now someone in Hollywood looked at Facebook and said, "Wow, this Farmville application is huge. We need to put this shit in Robin Hood movie."
Now I don't know if you guys felt this, but I had this through a lot of movie where like even though they were speaking English, I couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying.
Yeah, but that may have been a problem with the sound system of the theater we were at. No, because it was really muffled and
that theater has the best sound system in town.
Well, maybe something.
Well, maybe Ridley Scott fucked up. I don't know. more than what he did with the script.
Blame him.
Yeah, I know. Because I tell you what, sitting through this, I fucking was nodding off like in the first 20 minutes, and then I looked over at Corey, and Corey was passed out.
And I woke up and said,
he woke up.
I said I would not mention this to anybody because all they do is make fun of me. And then when I saw everybody else how bored they were, like, fuck no, they'll forgive me.
No, it was fucking boring. I had people looking at me from across the way, just going like, "What the fuck are we watching right now?"
Yeah, the movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. I fell asleep a little bit after the movie started, which was 8 o'clock. I woke up and thought, like, how much did I miss? Because this is dragging. I must have missed all the good parts. I looked at my little iPhone and I was like, it's 8:38. It's eternity in here.
Right. No, it was fucking purgatory. I was like praying for somebody to either start a fire or pull the goddamn fire alarm because I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
I don't know what Ridley Scott was thinking making this thing, really. There's just no one you give a shit about, and it's so blatant about it that actually there's this moment where, of course, as you know, Robin Hood and Marion end up together. They're one of the great famous couples. When it finally happens in the film that he's like, "I love you," you're like, really?
Yeah. When did that happen? Did we miss a 2-hour reel of that or something?
Okay, well, granted, it happened after they were only together for 3 days, but back in those days, they didn't live that long. They had to get on
true.
it.
3 days, you were pretty much middle-aged at that point.
Yeah, they didn't have much time. Even at the beginning of the movie, they said King Richard is about the age of, and we're thinking like 50, 55, and they're like 40.
Yeah, they were like his time is almost done. He's 40.
Yeah, he's
40.
He's practically 1 foot in the grave.
Yeah. They didn't have any Flintstone vitamins back then.
But speaking of Maid Marian, I mean, Cate Blanchett totally wasted in here.
Oh yeah.
Nothing.
She was phoning it in. I thought everyone was phoning it in because I mean their parts were so, like I said, so sporadic.
There just wasn't enough for them to do.
Yeah, there's nothing for them to do and nothing to relate. You can't relate to characters that you only see for like split seconds. I mean, and that's why the movie just completely lost me.
Well, like for example, Cate Blanchett, a lot of these characters, they just do things by their actions. That's how they're trying to build personality. Cate Blanchett, we don't know that much about her, and then like oh look, she's putting on her armor. She was an independent, strong woman.
I'm sorry, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And it failed miserably in the film.
Sure did.
Yeah,
it was only an excuse for Robin Hood to be able to take on the Mark Strong big bad guy and have the audience be like, yeah, you better do it, because otherwise you'd be like, wait, who is that guy again?
Right.
Who really cared about that guy?
And Fried Tuck, who raises bees so he can have honey. Anybody think that he wasn't going to throw those bees at the enemy at some point?
Well, the moment
they came on the screen.
Yeah.
Bee bomb. Now that's another thing. There's some moments of humor in here where, especially for a Ridley Scott movie, they're lame. Like when the French are invading, they come up to the sheriff of Nottingham, and he's like, "I'm a quarter French. My mother was half French on her side." And I was like, "Wow, man, this is really the comedy in this is embarrassing."
It was like, what movie was that from? Because it wasn't that one.
No, and the editing is bad. I mean, for a Ridley Scott movie, the action in here horrible, because they not only film the action too close, but they put a strobe on everything, and then the editing is bad. In the middle of a battle scene, they cut to this really awkward part where all the people are invading in the background, and there's this one guy with like vomit, like looks like oatmeal was poured on his collar, and he's just sitting there strumming a guitar, and it's like,
why was a friar just hanging out, just strumming a guitar?
It's like, wow, you really ruined the pacing of this action scene by putting that in.
Well, that was part of why this film was confusing at points, because it was so badly edited. It was like, wait, how did these things go together, and what's going on here? There were whole scenes going on that it was a good minute into a scene before I figured out where it was supposed to be taking place and what the fuck was going on.
I think I know the answer to all your questions, guys. I think Max von Sydow fucking edited this movie. It's all fucked up.
He was blind.
Paste. Where's my glue?
It's funny, like we keep saying, it's all over the place in its pacing and timing, but it really was, because it kept changing locations and putting location down at the bottom of the screen. So many, like every 10 minutes, it's like, guys, it doesn't matter really. Just say England. We know.
We're clear. It's England or France, and that's all we need to know. Really,
they even should have. If they kept doing it so much, they should have went as far as to say, "Meanwhile, back in Nottingham,
back at the Hall of Justice."
I would have preferred if they just put the fucking book so I can read it, so I can understand what the fuck was going on each scene.
Well, they actually did at the beginning and the end. There, remember? Like, this is the tale of Robin Hood. You may not have heard of him before.
But yeah, man, at the end they say and the legend begins. I'm like, sorry, that should have been part of the title of this movie, so we knew coming in.
Yeah, because this is you should have told this whole story in 10 minutes. Yeah. This whole movie should have been 10 minutes of a Robin Hood film, and it should have said end of prologue at the beginning, and then shown us the actual fucking Robin Hood movie.
You were so right, man.
Show me the Robin Hood fucking movie for dummies. That's what I want.
Or if nothing else, you know what? Condense this down to 30 minutes, and then show the Disney cartoon. I'd go with that.
I was longing so much for that fox to jump on the screen. I was like, damn, give me some talking animals at this point.
Give me some emanation.
Yes, please.
I would have nailed a fox Cate Blanchett. I'd totally tear that shit apart. I'd hit that so hard her mother would need a cigarette afterwards.
Shit, her cartoon talking mama would have needed that.
Exactly.
But man, I have to tell you, they really are starting to take the allure out of the mythology of old medieval England and these kind of things. I mean, I remember seeing it in the Kevin Costner Robin Hood, and I'm thinking, this is cool. They're trying to represent these small villages and outside the castle and the kingdoms as like just this dirty, nasty, muddy ass place. But that just reminds me of a bad day at a Renaissance fair.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
It's like I really want you to keep that mystique up of. I mean, even if it's just false,
I'd rather it be a fantasy than see rats running around on the kitchen table while they're eating.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the shit crusted under their fingernails.
The problem is at the point where you see the rats eating the food and that they don't care, you disconnect from them. You're like, wait. Oh, I actually have nothing in common with these people.
No, you nasty motherfucker.
Are we talking about the movie or are we talking about Cyrus's place?
They filmed it in my house.
It was all done in his backyard.
I was like, wait, I've been here before.
That's why the action scenes were shot so close is because he's working in Cyrus's backyard.
They said it had a lot more in common with medieval England than actually anything in England right now.
They had to edit Cyrus out.
And look, if you want us to hate your villains, I mean, really give us some depth to these villains and make them hate them because, like I said, a lot of these other people, like Mark Strong, as you were talking about, and everything, they're just sneering. That's all. They just come on, they're like, I'm evil. But then the invading French, there's a part where, okay, we don't know too much about this French army, and that's why we don't really care about the invasion, but there's a part where we have to see how bad they are. Now, it's not bad enough that they lock people up in a room.
Women and children.
And babies.
Yeah.
and set the bottom of the building on fire so that the smoke will choke these people. Mm-hmm. But as they do this and walk away, they're like all the French people like drinking buddies. It's like they just left. Like they just got out of a bar. They're like, hey, look at that. We just locked some old women and babies up in the building.
Yeah. Hey, good massacre, right?
Yeah. They're all like hugging each other as they walk away. And they're like, killing people, ain't it, gay?
I was like, those French can't even fucking kill people, right? It's like, what are they doing? Smoking them to death? I don't get. You have fire. They're in a place that's easily flammable. You just throw the fucking fire in there, all right?
No, because the meat
dumbass.
doesn't taste right. You'll scorch it. You got to smoke that.
Oh, they were cooking them.
Yeah, that's what we call a French picnic, right?
The French invented barbecues.
They ate women and babies.
Yeah, they eat snails. They're clearly not particular.
And that was the fakest ass looking baby that they put out. Because they're trying to get the people out, and through a window they have this bundle of towels. And somebody's like, save the baby.
Yeah.
Save the baby. I was like, that's a sock.
I know. And then you hear the terrible sound effect that sounds like something you can just get off the internet. It's like,
man.
Plus, like, save the baby. Hey, how about put the fire out? Save us all. Just saying.
It would have been funnier if that baby would. It would have been funnier if that baby would have flown out. It's like,
and even in that scene, it's like 5 hours later, Robin Hood comes down a hill. Those people would have been dead by that point. Those people, they would have opened that door. It would have been steaks and sausages. Man, is there anything that y'all can think of that's good about this?
Well, I mean, I will give them points just that they tried to make it feel real. They tried to do something with Robin Hood people hadn't done before yet. Okay, points for trying. It just didn't work because it was like they were so focused on getting all these little details right that they forgot about the actual meat of the story. They forgot about the characters. They forgot to make us like these people or care about what happened to them. So it doesn't really matter all that other stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, but, you know, I mean, hey, it seemed like a good idea on paper is the best thing I can say.
On paper. Keep it there.
Yeah, that's probably all I can give you. I mean, you know what? Are we doing our ratings or are we just talking?
We can go ahead and do it. I just wanted to hear, did you think of anything good in this at all?
You know what? For there was so much of it where I was just like, well, I guess I don't hate it. And then by the time it got to the end, I kind of did. It just, you know what? If it had been shorter, if it had been an hour and a half and could have been compressed, I could have been like, all right, this movie's forgettable, but it was okay. But it wasn't. It dragged us through way longer than it should have. And
well, can you think of anything good at all?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I thought the trees looked realistic and the dirt on the road looked pretty cool. But,
that was all CG, dude.
Yeah, and the horses, they were really emoting, when they were running around. So
the horses were the best actors. No, you know what,
that's about all I can say.
I really want to find something to say that would make me give this a rental, but all I could do is just keep complaining about this. I'm kind of pissed that they kept me in this movie 2.5 hours, and then at the end it's like, oh, and here comes Robin Hood. Now I admire them for trying to do something different with Robin Hood. I really do, but they made it painfully boring, and it lacks any sense of adventure. So I got to give this some more bullshit.
Wow. Okay. I'm not strong enough of disliking to give it some old bullshit. And you're right. There's not a lot to like here. And yet most of it, if this had been an hour and a half, I'd probably be like, it was all right. But It's 2.5 hours long, which brings it down a lot. I still can't give it any worse though than a low rental, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, I that's where I hovered for the longest time until, and really at 2 hours I could have gone low rental. It would have been the lowest rental, but it would have been low rental. But 2.5, and then they have that ending that says, and the legend begins. Like, hey man, I gotta give this some old bullshit just on the general principle that they cannot make another one.
No, please, God, no!
It ends here. Some old bullshit.
It ends here.
You know what? I'm changing my rating. You said it. It's some old bullshit. You're right.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I don't want there to be a sequel. You're right. It's like, don't do that. No, bad call.
Honestly, I'm giving this movie a fuck you because I was fucking dying in that theater. I'm serious. I mean, I could feel everyone in that theater just being pissed off. Even like some other critics were just looking at me like, what the fuck is going on here? Why are we in here fucking suffering like this? And I'm like, I feel you, man. I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't have any matches, so I can't start a fire. But no, it's
seriously. We were in there so long. I thought the French were going to light a fire under us.
We were all looking for someone to blame. But I came out and Coase rolled over my foot. I'm like, ow! He's like, fuck you, Cyrus.
I'm sure.
How is this my fault?
No, that's one of those movies that it makes you. The more you realize you're bored, you're like, I'm kind of angry right now because I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah, no. And I guarantee you, the fucking French were probably outside trying to start a fire, and those dumbasses once again failed. I'm stuck in there to the end of the movie. I'm like, get me out of here. I don't even want to be here for the credits, please.
I did feel like I was asphyxiating at one point.
Oh man, those closing credits were terrible. Didn't even go with the movie. I don't know what they were doing. I tell you, boy, in 1938, The Adventures of Robin Hood, Errol Flynn's coming out like, ain't so gay now, am I?
Oh shit.
No, you still kind of gay, but you're much more entertaining than this.
Rise and rise again until lambs become lions.